Hello everybody and welcome back, and in this tutorial we are going to see how we can actually perform the connection to the actual server every 20 seconds. So you might have noticed that every time we actually tested our reverse shell, we needed to wait. For example, before we actually ran the reverse shell, we had to set up our server in order to connect back. Now what, for example, if our target suddenly opens the reverse shell without us listening for a connection? It will not be able to connect back to us, and it will basically just close the program, and we will not be able to execute the commands or do anything else to target PC. So we want to implement something in our reverse shell which will try to connect back to our server basically every 20 seconds, or doesn't have to be 20 seconds, it can be any amount of time you want to specify. So in order to do that, let us go to our reverse shell. Oops, let me just delete from the previous compilation unnecessary files and folders. So we can only have these two files. Let us also delete the hello.txt and test.txt. And let us nano the reverse shell.py. Right here, what we want to do is, instead of this connection right here, first of all, what we want to do is delete it. Since we don't want to connect right here, we will make a simple function which will do that for us. So just delete this right here. Oops, not everything. So socket.sock_stream. Okay, and right here we will basically just call a function which will be called connection. So this function is the function that will perform the connection. Just go up here, right here, go up, and we can code the actual function right here. So def connection, open and close brackets, let's add the two dots, and in order to be able to actually execute the connection every 20 seconds, we need to run this in an infinite while loop. So while true, we will add something called sleep, which is a function that comes in the time library, and in order to use it, we need to import time. This is a library which will allow us to use this sleep function, which will basically just not execute any part of the code for the specified amount of time. So this sleep function actually takes one argument, which is the amount of seconds you want your program to sleep. In our case, we will specify 20 seconds. And after that, we can try to connect. So try sock.connect, open double and open double close brackets, and between the double quotes we need to specify the IP address, which in my case is 192.168.1.9, which is the IP address of my Kali Linux machine. Then comma and the port that we are listening on. So in my case 54321. And after that, once it connects, we can actually enter our shell from here. So if we are entering our shell from here, we don't need to have the shell specified right here, so we can delete the calling of the shell function from here, and we will call it from the actual connection function. In case it doesn't actually manage to connect, that means that our server is not open and running, and it is not listening for connections. So in that case, we will call connection function once again. So this is a recursive function. It basically calls itself. As you can see, we call the function connection from the connection function, and this will go in circles until it manages to connect to our server. So for example, if someone ran this reverse shell and then 3 hours later you actually opened and started your server, it would actually connect to it even 3 hours after running the reverse shell. So let us save this. Time sleep, 20 seconds, everything is good. We can now try to compile the program. So wine root.wine drive C Python 27 scripts by installer. Okay, so no console, one file, and then reverse_shell.py. Let's press enter right here. Let us import the USB drive. And right now what we are going to do is we are going to run the reverse shell first, then we will wait a few seconds, and then we will run our server in order to see whether it will connect or not. So let me just go right here, go to dist, and move the reverse shell to my USB. Also, since we already have from the previous video the copied backdoor into our roaming folder and also a registry key in our registry editor, this reverse shell right now will not perform the persistence since it already performed it in the previous time we actually ran it, as you can see in the actual code. So let me just go right here. It is good to know that .py. You can see that we coded right here that it should not perform these two commands in case this location right here exists. So since it does exist, since we coded it last time and we actually copied it, it will exist and it will just skip this part right here and it will go straight to the socket creation and then connection function. So that is good as well. Let us run our server. Let us unplug the USB drive. Copy the backdoor or the reverse shell to the desktop. Run it. Oops, we actually made a mistake. Let's wait for it to actually connect. We should have waited 20 seconds and we should have ran the reverse shell first. So what I will do is I will just close as soon as this connects. I will just press Q to close the connection and then I will start the reverse shell once again and just basically wait a few seconds before starting the server. So I quitted the server. Let us start the reverse shell once again. Okay, so it is started. We can see nothing is opening, nothing is running. Basically right here we don't have our server opened. Now let's wait a few seconds and actually start our server. So clear the screen. There wasn't really point to clear the screen, but doesn't really matter. And let's right now run the actual server. It is listening for incoming connections even after we run our reverse shell. And right now, hopefully, we will get connection back. So let's wait a few more seconds since we specified the timeout to be 20 seconds. So in less than 20 seconds, we should connect to the target. And we did, so we can see we got a connection from our Windows PC at this port, or the connection is from this port. We can execute the commands, we can do anything as in the previous videos, so our actually persistent with the timeout of connecting actually works right now. So at this point, all you need to do is deliver this reverse shell to the actual target and you will be able to connect to them anytime you want, as long as their PC is on. So that will be about it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And in the next video, what we will do is we will see how we can actually download some files from the internet with our reverse shell. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial and take care. Bye.